another first impression. This time we have a beautiful Volkswagen ID3 with the new updated system that has come out with the ID4, so the version 3.2.
Tom, what do you think? First impressions?
First impressions, car overall, nice city car, nice car for a first car, nice car for your second car in the household for sure. Very simple to use. Everything is simplified and once again simplified to the point where it's very easy to use, which is actually a good thing. So far I have not been able to find any features that I would particularly miss in a car of this segment, which is nice. You even get to pick different sport modes, or drive modes in that case, which is quite surprising. I mean, this isn't very difficult to do with an EV car, but yeah, you have the option. So yeah, what about the system, Shrivas?
Tom, I agree with your first impressions. I think it's a very decent first car. I think it's a very decent city car. The asking price, in my opinion, is a bit too high, but we are in the phase of early adopters of EVs, and probably if you're someone who drives a ton, then this is arguably not the car for you, But it is very spacious, it is very simplified, like Tom said, and it's like no nonsense, And I'm almost going to contradict myself in saying this, that it's no nonsense, because I've faced so many issues with the infotainment system, I can't begin to tell you. I think Volkswagen decided to oversimplify it to a point where the balance between new technology and simplification was not struck well. And let me explain myself here, not to make bland accusations. For example, the activation for the infotainment system is, especially for the climate control and the volume slider, is a touch panel. And the downside to this is that you can't see it in the dark. So unless you have really strong muscle memory, which I believe you can eventually develop over time, you are going to struggle to control the volume buttons and the climate control. We pointed out also that now the back buttons are going to be backlit, and Volkswagen is going to move away from these touch interfaces after the CEO said that they were wrong. But yeah, this was my first deal breaker with this infotainment system, and it just begins there. But the touch system also goes onto the steering wheel. What's your impression of that, Tom?
Yes, about the steering wheel, I am aware that Volkswagen issued a statement saying that this steering wheel has been a mistake. But for my personal driving style, I have not interfered too much with the touch controls on the steering wheel. I don't know, maybe I don't use my palm enough, or maybe I just use the outer edges of the steering wheel. But what I found as a first impression was that it was quite difficult to get the correct amount of pressure to initiate the buttons the way you want it, or not to initiate the haptic feedback, but rather just use the touch controls on the steering wheel. So that was very difficult. After getting used to it, this is not an issue anymore.
Shall we address the elephant in the room, the number of things that we faced with this infotainment system?
Yes. First of all, well, we were doing a case with charging. We managed to freeze the system, and we're unable to reset the system in a humane way, so we had to do a factory reset.
Yeah.
And then after factory reset, we've come across more inconveniences because some of the packages that are installed in the system are assigned, I guess, to your account.
Yeah.
So that swiped the system clean. We had to reinstall all the packages, but I guess that wouldn't be very hard if you have access to the Wi-Fi and some spare time.
Exactly.
How would we rate this car?
Man, I'm not gonna give this one a good rating, because I've had a few experiences with this car. When you look a little bit closer, what you start to realize is that the maps also, because yesterday we just put a route all the way to Warsaw, was it? After resetting the system,
we tried.
So we asked the car to route us to Warsaw, and it took, I don't know, half an hour, and the route never finalized. And you know, as someone in Europe here, if I want to take my car on a road trip, I should be able to. And if I want to go to Poland, I should be able to. And if the system is struggling so hard because it lacks the power to kind of come up with this map, it lacks the processing power, I think I would say the same thing that I said earlier. Just add a little more processing power and make it a little more faster, you know. Make it functional, even if it lacks a little bit of features. Like, it's feature packed, I love it, but make it a bit more functional, you know.
I would like to try this system in a more expensive Volkswagen car, because maybe that unlocks some features.
Yeah.
You still have to remember that this version of the ID3 is the Pro version, so it's quite rich compared to the basic models. But yeah, I would agree 3 or 4 out of 10 for the system, and for the car as a city car, maybe 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give this a solid 6 as well as a city car.
Yeah, because it does what it's supposed to. There's plenty of range for you to travel around the city and have everything done: grocery shopping, picking up kids from school, etc. Whatever you need the city car for.
But you know what I also like is that for a small car, we just climbed up a hill, and it climbed up the hill so effortlessly, where I know that I would have burnt half my clutch in a hatchback.
That is true. That is true. Electric cars rule with this. They just keep going, and it's hard stopping them.
But I also love the range estimation on this car. It's very accurate. I think for this car, when you give it a few settings, okay, you're going to go in normal mode, you're going to use these settings, you're going to use this average speed, this climate control, the range estimation is, I think, the most accurate that I've seen in the different EVs that we've tested. We've had some premium EVs with us, I don't want to name names, but even compared to them, in my experience, I think the ID3 does a very good job with range estimation. So, you know, you're not going to leave home with 300 kilometers in the Odo and then boom, you're at 50 in no time.
And you're looking for a charger. Yeah.
Yeah. So props to Volkswagen for that. I mean, you know, credit where credit is due. This car has an amazing heads-up display, and I think it has the biggest heads-up display we've seen, even among like 150, 200k EVs, you know.
Yeah,
so
that is very true.
I really liked that. I really loved that Volkswagen focuses more on the driving, and you know, they make you look at the windscreen and not a fancy instrument cluster. The instrument cluster is very basic. It serves the purpose. So, you know, props to Volkswagen for focusing where it's due. And I think if they put some effort into the infotainment system, if they're able to make it very fast and very functional with the most basic things a person uses, media, navigation and climate control, then I think we have a winner on our hands.
Yeah.